All right, Shalom. We're going to be talking about Christ's last words. People think there's a contradiction in the Bible because it seems like it's saying something different in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. So we're going to be proving that there's no contradiction, and it's easy to understand what it's talking about. All right, get that. Matthew 27 and 46.
Matthew 27:46. And about the ninth hour Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani? Sabachthani? That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?
Okay, so that's what he said. That's what Matthew said that he said. Okay, now get Mark 15 and 34. Oops. 15:34.
Okay. Mark 15:34. At the ninth hour Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which is being interpreted, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?
Okay, so Mark says the same thing as Matthew. Okay, so now get John 19 and 30.
Okay. John 19 and 30. John 19 and 30. Excuse me. 19 and 30. When Jesus therefore had received the vinegar, he said, It is finished. And he bowed his head and gave up the ghost.
Okay, well, read that again.
When Jesus therefore had received the vinegar, he said, It is finished. And he bowed his head and gave up the ghost.
So here it's saying he said that it is finished, not what Matthew said. So automatically people say, well, that's contradiction. Okay, so now get Luke 23 and 46.
Okay. Luke 23 and 46. Okay, Luke 23:46 says, And when Jesus had cried with a loud voice, he said, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. And having said this, he gave up the ghost.
So here it says something, even another thing that's different than what the other two say. So, I mean, it's understandable why you think that's a contradiction, but you're not looking deep enough into it. Okay, so go back to Matthew 27 and 46.
Matthew. And about the ninth hour Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani? That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?
Okay, now jump down to verse 50.
Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost.
So it says he cried it out again. So he said, my God, why have thou forsaken me? But then down later it says he cried out again, and then he gave up the ghost. So he said something after he said that. So, because I saw this in a meme, that's why I wanted to do this video, because I saw a meme that had Matthew, John, and Luke saying those verses and saying, oh, someone's lying. But that just automatically disqualified Matthew being contradiction, because they just said that he cried out again after he already said, why have thou forsaken me? So the real issue is in John and Luke. Like, Matthew shouldn't even been in that meme. It's pretty stupid, actually. So Matthew is disqualified. So now go to John 19 and 30.
John 19 and 30. When Jesus therefore had received the vinegar, he said, "It is finished," and he bowed his head and gave up the ghost.
Okay, so in Matthew it said he cried out again. Okay, so this is possibly definitely what he said after. He cried out, or he said, or read that again.
When Jesus therefore had received the vinegar, he said, "It is finished," and bowed his head and gave up the ghost.
So he said, "It is finished," and bowed his head and gave up the ghost. So now we don't have a problem yet. So go down now, get Luke 23 and 46.
Luke 23 and 46 says, Luke 23:46 says, "And when Jesus had cried with a loud voice, he said, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. And having said this, he gave up the ghost."
Okay, so key words is that he cried out. We said he cried out loud again. That's what he said, right?
And when Jesus had cried with a loud voice.
Cried with a loud voice. What did it say in, get Matthew 27:50.
Uh, 27:50 Matthew. Jesus, when he cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost.
See, when he cried out loud again, and in Luke it said he cried out with a loud voice, but in John it said. In 19, it just said that he said, "It is finished." Okay, so when he cried out again, what he said was what he said in Luke. That's what the loud cry was. All right, so basically what he said, basically the timeline is Matthew's first. He first said, oh God, why hast thou forsaken me?" Then he got the vinegar. Then he said, "It is finished." Then he bowed his head and he gave up the ghost. And he gave up the ghost by saying what he said in Luke. "I commend my spirit." That's him giving up the spirit. So it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. That's the timeline. There's no contradiction at all. All right, and that's it for this video. Shalom.